Hey everybody, Meg from the Teacher Studio here with a couple of quick videos to talk about fractions and fraction misconceptions that you might be facing in your classroom right now. The first misconception I want to talk about is when your students think fractions like 1/8 are greater than fractions like 1/4. And here's why. One of the biggest misconceptions students have, especially in grades 3, 4, and 5, is that the bigger number on the bottom means the bigger fraction. Makes sense, right? We've been talking about numbers getting bigger since they were in kindergarten. They see the 1/8, they see the 1/4, and they think the 1/8 is bigger because 8 is bigger than 4. It makes sense. But fractions are not whole numbers. Fractions are talking about parts, and students need to understand that even though fractions are numbers, they are not whole numbers. The denominator tells us how many parts the whole is divided into, and the more parts you divide something into, the smaller the parts get. Now, students can make this connection with pizza, right? If you talk about sharing one pizza with 2 people, or with 3 people, or 4 people, or 10 people, or 100 people, what's happening to the size of the pizzas? Grounding the fraction work into concrete things is so important. This means not only should your examples be concrete, like pizza or pans of brownies, but you need to give students actual hands-on opportunities to manipulate things. Maybe it's paper folding, maybe you have fraction circles or fraction squares or bars that they can use to actually see and prove to themselves why 1/4 is in fact greater than 1/8. Make sure you do a lot of different shapes, a lot of different contexts. Again, we're trying to build the concrete understanding before we try to represent it. Now, once we do that, we need to move on to the next step. We need to be able to represent those fractions. Tying the concrete to a number line is the next best thing. When you think about dividing your number line and showing students how to divide it, dividing it into 2 jumps makes big pieces. 3 jumps, 4 jumps, the pieces or the jumps on the number line keep getting smaller and smaller. We can even match up our manipulatives to the number line. So students can start to see, especially when we want to tie in that concept of unit fraction, how 1/2 is bigger than 1/3, which is bigger than 1/4, 1/5, and so on. Okay? So that progression is essential in building the understanding that the bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece. If you found this tip helpful, follow me for more teaching tips or visit my blog at www.theteacherstudio.com and just search fractions for a ton of great information. Thanks and see you.